Hi guys, my name is Anthony and welcome to the news of Oceania Football. In this video, I've done a recent interview with a player called Jesse Edge, a New Zealand footballer who's playing in Sweden in the third division, a club called IFK Berga. So hopefully enjoy and have a good listen. Thank you. Let's get started. Hello guys, my name is Anthony and welcome to the news of Oceania Football. Today, with me, I've got a very special guest. And would you love to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for thinking me and bringing me on to this interview. So thank you for that.
It's okay.
My name is Jesse Edge. I'm 26 years old. I'm a New Zealand youth international. And now I'm living here in the beautiful Sweden. I've been a professional footballer since I was 18 years old, moving to Italy first.
Okay.
And now I've had maybe 8 years playing professional football around Europe. So it's been a bit of a professional footballer nomad lifestyle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what club you're playing for, basically?
I'm playing for a club called IFK Berga. It's in Division 2 in Sweden.
Okay.
Obviously, with coronavirus and things, it's been very difficult financially at a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
So I got a good offer here after, unfortunately, being relegated last season.
Yeah.
To come in and you know, I have a place to stay. I have a good salary and a car and things like that. So, you know, very happy to be here right now, and that's where I'm situated. It's a nice city in the south of Sweden.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So the first one is, what made you passionate about football? How did you get into football?
Yeah. Well, I was raised in quite a football-orientated family. My name, Edge, in New Zealand especially, is quite big.
Yeah.
And my grandfather was the assistant of the New Zealand national team, who I was brought up by.
Yeah.
And my uncle, he runs the most successful football academy out of New Zealand as well, Declan Edge, that is.
Okay.
He's produced a lot of players around Europe now who are doing very well, and that's the system of what I came through, you know. So I always loved football. I remember that. But I think when I was very young, I didn't have much of a choice.
Oh, okay. And what is life like playing in New Zealand? The football like in New Zealand?
It's good. It is good. I think it is getting progressively more professional currently with the current league setup and the players. You can see that by our national team now. Yeah. With maybe 10, 15 years ago, most of them were semi-professionals. Yeah. Where now the whole squad is full professionals playing in Europe, playing for PSV, Ryan Thomas. Yeah. Chris Wood scoring goals in the Premier League. You know, it's fantastic. So it is definitely going through some growth. Yeah. But I think the vision still of a lot of New Zealand players who are serious about football is to come to Europe to play professional football. So there's not really that structure in New Zealand that you can make it and live at home so much. There's only one team that plays in the A-League. Yeah. But apart from that, it's semi-professional.
Okay. And the next one, how did you... Okay, I looked at your career and you moved a lot. Like, first it was like...
It's an understatement of the year.
Like, could you, like, lead up to your current club, basically, all their moves, basically? How do you get this point?
Okay. Basically, I got scouted playing in the Under-17 World Cup for New Zealand. Yeah. To a club in Italy called Vicenza Calcio, which was in the third tier at the time. I did the youth there is under-19s, the second team. Yeah. So I did a year there. Then I got a full pro contract, which was my first professional contract. And I think the first professional contract of a New Zealand footballer in Italy as well. Yeah. In the history. And we were in the Serie B the year I was in the first team. So I was exposed to some very good and very professional players, and we had a very good coach at the time. I learned so much. Two of those players are now playing in the Italian national team. One of them's just been selected for the Euros.
Okay, wow.
And then from there, sorry, what's that?
No, go on. I said, oh, wow.
Nah, so after that, my contract ran out, and I didn't get much game time in the first team because we did so well. We were pushing to get promoted. We finished third. We just missed out by 1 point to get promoted to Serie A that year, which was incredible for the club. So I didn't get much game time, and my contract ran out, and I went to the Under-20 World Cup with New Zealand.
Okay.
And, everything that was said at the club was like, oh, we want to keep you. The agent was saying also, like, yeah, Vicenza definitely wants to keep you for next year.
Yeah.
So I finished the World Cup. I go back to Italy from New Zealand, which is a bigger flight than people actually understand.
Yeah.
And I got there. I was waiting for 2 weeks in my apartment in Italy, and then I find out they're not going to sign me for the new season. So I was like, man, what can I do from here,
Whoa.
And then I got promised a few things from an agent, some bad trials as well in the UK, I have to say.
Oh, wow.
And then I ended up going back to Auckland City, which was a good move for me, which is the top team in New Zealand, played in the FIFA Club World Cup and the Oceania Champions League. So that was a great opportunity for me to go back and play a lot of football games, which I think I needed at the time. But through doing that, my vision was still very set that I want to be in Europe and play in Europe.
Yeah.
So I went again to some dodgy trial in Latvia. And so it's a long story that. But I went to Latvia. The club ended up wanting me and things, and I didn't really want to stay there.
Okay.
And my uncle, he is a part investor in a third-tier club in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Called FCP Sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there for like 6 months to train and play some games just to be here, and while I was looking for a club. And I did that for 6 months, and they have a winter break during the December period. So I went back to Mum's house, which I told you before off air, that it's in London.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little base to have. And I went there, and I was just emailing clubs, like cold calling people, looking for trials, looking for options, because the third tier was a bit low for me in the Czech Republic, in my opinion. And, I have a mate who was playing for Pixwola now at PSV at the Ryan Thomas, and I messaged him and I said, look, how's like the second tier in Holland? Because I know it's professional. He said, look, I don't know so much, but it's professional, so, it's definitely good. We played a couple cup games. There's some good teams. Mm. So I ended up going on, like, the Wikipedia pages, like the club websites, like email addresses.
Whoa.
I emailed all the clubs in the first and second league in Holland. Yeah. And I ended up getting an email back, surprisingly, for people who have done this. Doesn't happen so often.
Yeah.
I got a message back after about 2 hours. I sent it.
Oh, wow.
And the sports director said, look, we've got a friendly game tomorrow. Can you come here? I was shocked. I said, well, what's the situation? Like, I have to look for flights if it's possible. Can you put me in a hotel or something? He said, look, if you can get here, we give you a hotel for one night and we see what happens further. Yeah. I went to Holland. It was early morning, at Stansted Airport. Yeah. I had like a croissant and a cappuccino for breakfast. That was all I had all day. The kickoff was at 2. I arrived in the city and town, and I ended up playing this friendly game. I scored 2 goals, and they signed me the contract after the game finished. Wow, now I got a second-tier Holland club, which was an amazing move for me at the time. I played 6 months there. That was the second half of the season. And the club was having some financial issues, unfortunately, so we got relegated to the third tier. Okay. And I did the season in the third tier there in Holland. I was the captain as well of the club, which was a really nice opportunity from a young age. Yeah. And I have a person who I've been working with, his name's Tony here in Sweden. And I gained his contact through a few friends of mine at the time in Holland. And he's a scout here in Sweden, and he's, he's an amazing guy, honest guy. So I trusted him a lot. And he basically said, actually, at the time, I had agreed to go back to Wellington, Team Wellington in New Zealand again. I had spoke to Jose, who is Auckland City's coach now, but he was at Wellington at the time.
Yeah.
And basically I said, look, I want to come back to New Zealand. I can't find an option. This third tier, the club's not in good shape. I said I was coming back. I just didn't sign yet, you know. And crazily enough, this guy, Tony, came back after I just spoke to Jose. And he said, look, we've got to move a trial in the top tier of Slovakia. You have to go. And I said, like, man, I've already spoke to my ex-girlfriend. Look, I'm going to go back to New Zealand. I agreed with the coach. I already said, he said, Jesse is the first tier. You have to go. I said, look, I can't. Like, if it's a week's trial, it's too long. I can't. He said, okay, if we give you a trial for one day, will you be able to go and go and do that? Because they really want to bring you in.
Okay.
So, in the end, I said, yes, I will go. I got there. I did the trial. It was a dead session, like, you know, just some position. I was playing at, like, centre-back where I play in midfield usually.
Yeah.
And, you know, just a nothing training where you can't really show yourself.
Yeah.
After the trial of one day, they said, we really like you, we want to sign you, you know? So I signed for the first tier in Slovakia, which, again, was an amazing move at the time for myself. And from there, I played again the second half of the season. I thought I did well, but then in came a new coach and a sports director, brought in some players from their old club, and then I had still a contract for another year. So I went on a couple of loan moves into the second tier of Slovakia, also performed very well. And then the coronavirus hit, which was a very difficult time in Slovakian football. A lot of teams got hit a lot financially. And I was on one of the biggest contracts at the club. And, you know, there was some things from the owners. I don't think they very much liked too many foreign players. There was something going on there. And the coach really liked me, but there was something going on outside, and they wanted to break my contract. So they gave me the option of, you know, either I can just sit on my contract and just train by myself and not be involved with the team, or they're going to cut my contract and, you know, we can make a negotiation and I will leave at the time. And it was a very tough period for me personally. But of course I said, look, I'm in Slovakia to play football. I'm not here to live my life in Slovakia, you know, so let's make a deal and let's go. I will go back to Holland and try to find something. Yeah. And so I went back to Holland again with, you know, my bags in my hand, nothing really, no plans. The season had already started. So it was a very difficult time to fix the club again. And then after 6 months, I was just training with some amateur teams. I have to say also the Dutch VVCS, which is the PFA, was fantastic to go and train with them for certain periods. And I ended up getting a move to the third tier in Sweden, which again was a good contract and a good offer to get in professional football again, because the third tier is still pro here. And play lots of games, which I've done. I've been doing well, and that's my current situation. I'm still in the same place now.
Oh, wow. It's like you've been on a journey, like a really mad journey, like all the moves and the packing and bags. Like, is this really the life of like a professional footballer, basically?
Yeah, well, people don't understand, you know, like if you're at the top of the game, which is the top 1%, you live really good. You have the good cars. You have a good life. You have 3-4 year contracts. Like, man, I've been on 6 months contracts for the last 4 or 5 years. Whoa. You know, and like, it's very often people sign 1 year contracts, you know, in these leagues. There's no job security. You're moving a lot because you need to find where the best options are for yourself to play and try and move up. So I was going to use the word grinding, but I don't like that, because it's taking a path. It's making a decision about what you want to do, you know? And it's about, as you said, the journey, and I like to use the word the process, and enjoying that process. You know, in life you have different decisions you can make. And there's not necessarily a good decision or a bad decision. It's a decision, and you have to go with that, you know? And the life experiences I've learned from living in 6 different countries, maybe more, Now I can speak 3 languages fluently, coming from New Zealand. Like, this is my dream. I'm living in Europe and playing professional football. I earn my money and my living from playing football. So I'm very, very proud and happy for what I'm being able to achieve, and that I'm still here in Europe after so many setbacks. For myself personally, I'm very proud of that as well, of myself.
Like, what? So you didn't have an agent, so you had to basically do it yourself, basically.
I have been working with certain agents and things like that. I've had contracts with a couple of agents, but I think with the connection base that I've built now, it's kind of through friends and through things like that I kind of get in touch with. And, you know, I've had a lot of experience now, even speaking to clubs and fixing salaries and things like that. Like, I've been going at it myself, but I also do have a lot of good personal friends, as I mentioned before. Tony here in Sweden, he's really helped me a lot, and through connections like that.
Okay, so wait, so was there a time that you had to like do like the business negotiation yourself at times, basically?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, sure. Like, I've spoken to clubs, even this year's contract, about going back and forth about what I want, and what they're willing to offer. So that's happened quite a few times. Yeah, sure.
Oh wow, damn. And next one is that what is your playing style, basically?
Yeah. First of all, I'm a defensive midfield player.
Yeah.
I've also played a lot of my career at centre defender. So I've also had experience in those positions, and also a little bit at right back as well with the New Zealand under-20s team in the World Cup at home. I was playing right back there. I think I'm quite, I'm a motivational player. I speak a lot on the field. My communication is one of my biggest assets. I think I have a very good passing range on both feet.
Yeah.
Long and short, left and right foot. And, I always say I like to really work hard, win the ball, and I like to pass to all the good players,
Oh, yeah. That's true. No, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
But, yeah, I would say I'm like that. But I really like building up play from the back, possession of the ball. I really like to read the game, shapes and patterns on the field.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite a deep thinking player,
Okay.
maybe also a coach on the field, something like that.
Okay, and what player inspired you, basically?
Yeah, from a really young age, it was David Beckham.
Okay.
From a very young age. I had all the boots, the Predator Mania 2002s, they were unbelievable. But then when I started to grow into, liking some football teams, I became and still am a big Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
And that was because of Steven Gerrard.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's why as well I kind of, that just came as a realization to me now. I loved his leadership on the field, the way he would speak and how passionate he was about the club.
Yeah.
And the passion that he played with as well. And I think I do have that passion when I play as well, similar to him.
Yeah, and what is the Swedish league like that to people don't know?
Yeah, like, it's hard to compare leagues. People always say, like, what league's better, Sweden or Slovakia, for example, And the term, like, everywhere is different, right? And Sweden is quite tactical. There's some, like, all the teams want to play generally, and building up play from the back. There's good players, but I would say the major difference from here to my time in Holland, where I spent a lot of time with, is in Holland you always had maybe a foreign player from Morocco or Turkey that was crazy with the ball, one-on-one, dribbling, crazy things. Whereas you don't really have that so much here, but the teams are very good in the way that they want to play football.
Okay, wow, I didn't know about that. Wow. And the next one is that has the New Zealand national team has called you up to play for them?
Yeah, well, I've been to 2 tours with the first team, the All Whites. The first one was to China, and then we went to Thailand.
Okay.
At the time, we had the coach, Anthony Hudson. I was in Italy at the time. He called me and he said, look, we want to bring you into the national team. I was really happy about that. And then he said on the phone, I definitely want to start you in the first game. And like, we will see how you do, and then we'll see about the second game. But I definitely want to start you in the first game. So I was obviously so happy. We went into the group, into the meet them in China first. And we went into training. And then in training, I was playing left back. And I was thinking, like, wait, what? Like, what am I doing here at left back,
Yeah.
But of course, I was on the team, so I tried everything, but I'm not a left back.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And then we get to the team selection, and he names the team, and I'm on the bench,
Yeah.
And there was no further communication from him, which I just felt a bit strange, It was a bit strange. So I didn't really understood what happened there, but I did go on 2 tours, and I sat on the bench for 2 games, which was a good experience. It was just like meeting all my old friends again, basically.
Yeah.
But it was a cool experience, and obviously I know right now our team's doing well, and I also personally need to make a couple of good moves before I'm considered again to be in that selection. But I would really love to be a part of that still.
Are they still in contact with you? Is the coach still in contact with you, basically at this moment?
Well, I know Danny very well personally from my time in New Zealand, because he's always been involved with club level football. So I know him personally very well, and also only a couple of years ago I was in the extended squad of the national team as well, which obviously if one person got injured, for example.
Yeah.
Which no one did. So I am in close contact. Like I said, my family name from New Zealand is quite big, so people know who I am and everything about where I am and things like that. But, I think the realistic thing is I need to first do well here and focus on the present moment and live every day and train hard and work hard and try and make some moves over here first. And then that is like a cherry on the top. That's the result of what the work is happening down here,
And is that, with the name, does that bring more pressure to it?
I don't know in terms of pressure, but my uncle, Declan, he's maybe you could say a controversial figure in New Zealand.
Okay.
He has some very strong ideals, and now people are starting to change because of the success that he's having with his youth players.
Yeah.
I would say growing up it was maybe quite difficult, and and even maybe now, I haven't had so much contact recently, but definitely growing up was maybe difficult because there was a little bit of hate is a strong word, but a lot of people didn't like him, and we share the same last name, and I come from his academy, so yeah, it is what it is. But I always just feel like you speak with what you do on the field, and that's what I've always tried to show,
And also, how did you deal with COVID, with the pandemic going on, like from last year? So how did you deal with it?
Well, basically, I was in Holland when it started. There was a few lockdowns going over there, so I was just training a load by myself, doing hip workouts, runs. We're still able to go outside to fields and things like that. Then I went to London for Christmas just recently, and I actually got COVID over the Christmas period.
Oh, okay.
I just had like cold-like symptoms, so nothing major, fortunately. And got through that, and then obviously Sweden is kind of pretty open. We're just living quite a normal life now. So nothing too major, but we did get it, and it wasn't a nice time for a couple of weeks, but it was okay. We got through it.
Okay. And what leagues would you like to move if you get the chance?
I'm really enjoying it here in Sweden and where I'm at right now. I'm in a very good team pushing for promotion again. We've got a very strong team, and it's really nice to be a part of that. Our coach is David Elm, who played for Fulham in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's quite famous here in Kalmar as well. I'm also here with my girlfriend. She's Italian.
Okay.
She's got a nice job here as well, so we're doing well. And I try not to look too much in the future now. I just want to do well today, and then I want to do well tomorrow, and then I want to, and keep living each day and enjoy that as well, because I'm in a good place right now, really.
That's good. And what's the ambitions with your club, basically? Your main goals and ambition with your club?
For sure, we want to bounce straight up this year. Yeah. We want to get promoted, and we've made that very clear. We want to be promoted, and we've also got the players in the team to do that, and it shows that as well on paper. That comes from also like the signings that the board have made. They've done an incredible job to be able to bring these players together, and I think we want to eventually get into the second tier here in Sweden. But obviously, again, it's a process. We've got a game this evening, so that's the first focus, is to win this game this evening, and we've got a game again on Sunday. So, things are happening, and it's just game by game. And obviously, you want to win every game. That's the basics of it.
I'm sorry, you said this evening?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh God! And you took the time. No, thank you for that. I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. Oh my God.
No problem.
And the next one is that are you still following New Zealand football as well? Like back at home, you still following it?
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm working for a company here. It's an online company called Game Insight.
Okay.
Which is it's a platform of football education and the session planners, and it's really good for players, teams, and clubs that they're able to use and have some really good high quality mentorship from big coaches and people like that over here in Europe. And I would love to bring this into New Zealand and really help the region as a whole. So not just New Zealand, Australia, the islands, the Oceania region.
That's good. Wow.
And I think that's a massive opportunity, because as I said at the beginning, that it's a growing nation, and I'm going to say that across all the nations in the Oceania region. And I think that first comes from good coaching. Yeah. And also good knowledge. Knowledge is power, and if we're able to bring this knowledge and also these lessons and a good platform that people are able to communicate and help each other with, that would be massive for the region. And I would really like to bring this online program, Game Insight, to New Zealand and the Oceanian region.
Oh wow, that's really good. Because the next question was like, do you follow also other countries besides from New Zealand in the Oceania region?
Yeah, of course, because I was also involved in the OFC Champions League.
Yes, okay.
So of course I'm always interested to see which teams are doing well around the islands. Obviously the Australian A-League. But that's massive of interest to me, because my passion is as well, even after playing, is to help players from the Oceania region to improve and also to come to Europe, because I know how hard it is, and I've lived through those experiences, and that's my passion at the end of the day, to help out these smaller nations of football nations,
Yeah.
And that's my passion, what I really want to do. I have a guy who's staying with me here from, he was just selected in the Australian under-23 national wider team selection.
Oh, yeah.
And he played for Den Bosch in the second tier of Holland for the last 3 years, and he's staying with me now, and he's training with me every day. I'm also doing individual coaching with him, and also some mentorship and things like that. Wow. That's a passion of mine, and I would really like to do that even more now and in the future.
And also the next one was, how was it like playing in the Champion League, the OFC Champion League at the time?
Yeah, it was a nice experience. Like, if I'm honest, I didn't get much game time. We had a very strong team, Auckland City. We have a lot of foreign players coming into the team. So I didn't play too much, but we won. So that was the most important thing for the club, to qualify for the FIFA Club World Cup. And I did come in a few times. So it was a nice experience. It's very professional. You're staying at a hotel all week in the nice, in 5-star places and everything. So it was cool. And yeah, it was a nice experience. But obviously, as a player, you want to play, so that was the only thing for me.
Okay. And the next one is that do you like the new New Zealand structure, the New Zealand football structure, the new?
Yeah, there's been a lot of word, a lot of people saying like it's not good, it's good, it's not good, it's good. But I think to open up promotion, relegation, and also all the way through up to the FIFA Club World Cup, I think that's very good, because there was speaks about the Super League, European Super League, which is franchises, which is what New Zealand was like, so I think to open up the league is a good thing. I think the quality of the teams maybe has suffered a little bit because obviously you had all the best players at maybe a couple clubs over the summer ASB Premiership, but now they're in more clubs, so it just depends if they can get to the same levels and standards. It's interesting to see and see how things are going. But in terms of youth football and getting players better, I think it gives the young players more of an opportunity. I know there's a rule that you have to play a certain amount of young players as well. So that's always a good thing. And, I'm just kind of checking in and seeing how everything's going. But it's nice to see, like, former clubs like Auckland City doing well. I also know Melville is around there, former club of mine. And also Western suburbs as well, down in Wellington region. So, I keep in regular touch, and I think it's a good thing, and it's interesting to see.
Yeah, and as you say, like, you heard about the European Super League, and our and back in England's reaction, we were not very happy, how we can say.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking that back at the Oceania, do you think they might use that idea to use that as franchises like Auckland and like Papua New Guinea, like Ley City and Heko United? Do you think that they might look in that idea because of the financial aspects of it?
Look, first of all, I think for any of these teams, qualifying for the FIFA Club World Cup is a massive financial opportunity, so that's for the whole country actually and the whole system. Yeah. So I know, for example, when I was there, Auckland City qualified, and there is a structure in place that the financial gains are diversified throughout the teams.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a structure system there. So it does help the leagues massively for if a New Zealand team wins it for New Zealand football, for example.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of the financial things that are going on. So there's still the direction of being able to get in there.
Yeah.
It just depends on the quality now, because the island teams now are really not bad. They're catching up. We played against some crazy Solomon Islands teams, like some crazy Vanuatu teams.
Yeah.
Like, they are catching up, and if New Zealand doesn't keep ahead of the game, then they're going to catch up quicker than ever now, because they are getting the financial support in the islands, they're getting the facilities, and the talent there, if you can see from the rugby, is unbelievable already. So it's just now the coaches and the facilities, because this is, I would say, an untouched goldmine area of the world.
Yeah, and also I wanted to get your opinion on the European Super League. How did you find it when you heard about this news?
That's obviously, I saw a lot of messages through Twitter and things like that. A lot of people hating on it and things like that. I'm not going to specifically talk about the European Super League, but I think the amount of money that's thrown around in football is crazy, and especially in youth football. I was at, even for example, Sheffield Wednesday on trial, and the amount of money some of the under-23s team was making was crazy. Like, they were making even $6,000 to $8,000 a week. And I don't understand those decisions at all, because it's like you're making this money that can support your family, and but you haven't even achieved anything yet.
That's true. That's true.
So it's all about money in football, and the Super League is one of those things about money and greed from powerful people, that don't get the ideas of what the club was made from, you know.
Yeah.
For example, the early football clubs were all made from working class people working in factories.
Yeah.
That came together, and it was a club for the people, you know.
Yeah.
And then these big people with the money are coming in and making decisions without the best interests of the fans all the time.
Okay. And obviously you explained about your career, about the financial aspects. Was it really that bad when you were moving with these clubs with the financial?
Well, sure, because when you're on contracts, you're good, but then also you can have 6 months without a contract, you know?
Yeah.
So that means you're making nothing for 6 months. So you're living off your previous salaries.
Oh, wow.
You know, I have to say, when you're at most clubs have looked after me very well in terms of housing and, you know, even cars and things like that, and food sometimes. But it's more that when you're moving in, for example, you don't have a club for 6 months, you know, you're not making any money. So that's what it's like. So to be able to survive not making any salary, you know, and still being here, you know, it's quite crazy.
Oh, wow. Would you advise a young player, like professional footballer is the life, basically?
It depends what you want. It depends what you want. If you're open to have new experiences, meet some cool people, travel around the world, and you know, you have the mentality for it, because it's hard work, you know, and you also have to be in a lot of uncomfortable situations. In terms of not speaking other people's languages and just sitting in a changing room by yourself. Then it depends what kind of person you are and what you want. But the thing is, and the problem is for the young players that I'm also doing some coaching for here, is like, you got to understand as a young player, like, I know it's the same in New Zealand, that if for example, if a middle class player from New Zealand is trying to make it professional, if they don't make it professional, they can go be a dentist assistant for their dad. You know, they're living good. It's the same here in Sweden right now. You know, they can go be a lawyer. It's no problem. But the competition is a kid from the favelas in Brazil who's, you know, has to fight every day to play football and to get food on the family's table. That's the competition for the young player, and that's the mentality you got to have when you're coming into a team over here in Europe. You got to be better than the rest. You know.
Wow. I think
so. The advice is that you have to work on your mentality. You have to be strong with your mentality, and also the process as well of what you're doing.
Wow. I feel like I'm talking to my therapist. Or a doctor. I'm surprised. Like, in this interview, like you're so knowledgeable in this. It's like you've been there, done it all. You know, like, that's like your mentality. Like,
yeah, well, you know, I moved to Europe when I was 18 years old. And, you know, I am 26 now, so I still, you know, have a lot to achieve and a lot I want to do. But I would say always throughout my career, I've always been thinking about self-improvement, what I can do better outside of football. Like I said, with this company I'm working for, Game Insight now as well, giving back to where I came from.
Yeah.
And I'm also doing some coaching and things like that too with our under-16s team here, which is a nice opportunity as well. So, you know, I've really been enjoying what I'm doing, and I've learned so much through doing that as well, for sure.
And is that the future as well? Being a coach, basically, being a.
I would definitely like to stay involved in football. I'm not sure exactly in which aspect yet. I'm definitely going to get my coaching licenses, and I do like coaching a lot. And also, like I said, my grandfather was the assistant coach of the New Zealand national team. My uncle's the most successful academy coach in New Zealand, so it's a little bit in the family and the blood. Which I also like as well. So I'm not going to say yes or no yet, but I definitely will stay in football. I even like maybe the player manager role as well.
Okay.
Something along those lines. But there's a lot of positions in football I'd like to explore and also go further. And I'm also getting quite deep into video analysis now as well.
Okay, wow.
So cutting and editing videos and, getting some technical analysis out of games and things like that too. A good friend of mine who used to play for Auckland City, Manal Exposito, he's now one of the analysts for the Belgium national team. So he's very close to me, and I speak with him, and also John Wall, who's involved in Game Insight here in Sweden. Some really good people, learning off them and just sucking in as much knowledge as possible.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, that's good. That you're setting up something so early in your career, basically.
Say that again, sorry?
It's a good thing that you're setting up like loads of things in your career, like business, coaching, and all that.
As Patrice Evra says, I love this game.
Yeah. And what is your personal development? Is there anything you want to improve on the pitch, basically?
Yeah, I work a lot on technique training now, individual technique, because I think if I don't keep on top of that, I'm not the quickest in turning and moving the ball. But if I keep doing that as I am, I feel good, So even like quick touches on the ball and things like that. So I really like technique training, which I learned from Arno Arts in Holland, who was big famous. He played for Willem II player and also for Utrecht, and he scored 2 goals against Barcelona in the Champions League. So this was my technique coach over there, and I learned a lot from him, and I feel so good from doing these kind of things.
Okay, good. And just the last thing is that, what is your personal goals, your ambition, basically?
Look, like I said before, I'm not going to look too much into the future. I always have very high standards on myself, and that's a daily thing. So every single day is about what you do, and I believe what you do now is what creates your future. And things will come if you're doing the right things and you're on the right path. And as we were talking about decisions before, it's about which decisions you make about which path you want to go along.
Yeah.
So in terms of ambitions, is I want to have a great game tonight, and I want to win the game tonight.
No, but thank you for this. Thank you for the interview. I didn't know you had the game basically later on, and you still made time for this. You're really a good heart. That's a good heart.
But no worries at all. And as I said before, anything for the Oceanian region, I love to give back. This is where I'm from. Mm-hmm. I'm a New Zealand Māori, so my father is Māori.
Okay.
And with Game Insight as well, which is something that's going to be coming up, I'm going to be contacting a few people in the very short future.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to get this really top quality product out into the Oceania region and enhance the football in this region as a whole.
No, that's good. Is there anything you'd like to say for people watching? Anything?
No, nothing in particular. I just want to reiterate, and say thank you again for thinking of me and bringing me on the episode.
Definitely,
and, I want to thank you so much as well. It's always nice to talk about football, so thank you so much.
No, definitely. But thank you so much for doing this. Even I learned a lot just talking to you. Definitely, I just learned a lot talking to you.
No problem. Call me again anytime.
And definitely, I know you got a big future, and you're gonna dominate whatever you do. You build your own empire. I know you're gonna have your own empire.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say empire. For sure, I want to improve the game back home. That's what I would love to do.
Yeah.
I always want to live and stay in Europe.
Yeah.
But I want to really enhance the game back home. It's a really untouched gold mine, as I said before, and there's so much opportunity there that I want to help increase.
Okay, thank you for that, and good luck later on. Hopefully, you do win the match as well. And thank you for basically impact your knowledge on this.
Thanks so much. No problem.
I'll be definitely following your career. Definitely, I'll be following very closely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
And good luck. Yeah. And stay safe as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, you too, man. Stay safe.
Okay, cheers and bye.
Bye.